Welcome to my third installment of testing my new Soloshot3. In this episode, we'll be pitting the Soloshot against RC airplanes to see how the tracking works on both the pan and tilt axis, as well as to see how the Optics 65 camera handles different lighting circumstances and different skies. Now I've taken this out 3 different times, and I'm going to show you a few clips from attempts 1 and 2, and then I will show you a full unedited flight from attempt number 3. Now this first flight takes place on a dark, overcast day at our smaller flying location, and that's notable because you do need to have distance between Soloshot and the subject matter, especially when dealing with something fast and agile like these RC planes. Now, due to the circumstances of this flight location, it tracks really well when I am down at the far end of the field. But as I do have to bring the plane closer back around to make a pass, once I get within about 100, approximately 75 feet, the tracking does struggle to keep up. And I also noticed that anytime I pulled the plane above the horizon, the focus was challenged. So this second attempt takes place at my normal flying field, which is a larger and more open area, and that allows me to get the camera further away from the plane, giving the tracking a better chance to keep up. Now we have a much more contrasting sky, with a mainly blue sky with some light high clouds. This is still a low light circumstance though, as the setting sun is covered up by clouds at this time. Now you'll notice even with the distance, the tracking struggles on the tilt axis here. And anytime the plane is up above the horizon, we're consistently seeing challenges to the camera's ability to focus. So for the third attempt, I really wanted to give Soloshot the best opportunity to succeed. So this is a late afternoon at about 2:30. We have a bright light setting. We have a bluebird sky, and I've moved the camera to the opposite end of our normal flying field to try to put even more distance between the camera and the plane. Now you'll notice immediately, even with a gentle pull out after takeoff, we're seeing challenges to the tilt axis tracking, and we're seeing a lot of issues with focus anytime I'm above the horizon. Now this focus issue seems pretty consistent when there is nothing in the foreground or background. Side note, I apologize for these trees, but it was a requirement due to the location of the sunlight and where I was in the field. Back to what I was saying. Anytime there is something in the foreground or background, the focus seems fine. But as I pull up here, as soon as those items are out of frame, the focus struggles. Now this is not a small RC plane. This is a 4.5 foot wingspan plane. That thing probably weighs 7 or 8 pounds. It's a big heavy RC plane, so it's not like a tiny little 1 foot airplane. I would understand the focus struggles if it weren't the fact that I can barely fit this plane in my car. Now I wonder about the tilt function, and I wonder if it's not a factor that we can't currently calibrate tilt when we're doing our tracking setup at the beginning of the Soloshot setup process. You know, we run around with the tag in the front of Soloshot calibrating the pan tracking, but there's currently no way to do that with tilt. So I just wonder if that has any effect on the tilt's general lag that you see pretty consistently throughout all of these clips. Maybe we can start throwing the tag up in the air, or maybe put it on a really long stick and wave it around. Actually, I probably will try some of that stuff to see if I can improve it. Now, other than the tilt and the focus issues, a major egregious issue occurred twice during my testing, and you'll see an example of it right here. As I pull up and bank away, Soloshot's frozen. And I'm intentionally being quiet because I want you to hear that there are no motors moving or any attempt to zoom or track. It's just frozen. and then all of a sudden it snaps back in and decides to start playing with us again. I don't know what causes this. I initially thought it might happen when I pull out because the tag is currently located under the nose of the plane. So as you're pulling away, the tag is blocked by the foam of the plane, possibly the battery, possibly the motor, even some of the radio frequency signals. But you'll see right now, I pull away to the right, the tracking tag is completely concealed, yet it still tracks fine. So I really don't know why that happened, and that happened to me twice out of the 9 batteries that I put through during these 3 separate tests. So that causes me some concern because losing 12 to 15 seconds of footage can be very significant, especially if that's when you do your best maneuver or your best trick. So let me just give you a little wrap up here. And first of all, say thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll have more of these tests coming up shortly. But in summation here, for the RC planes, the positives are that the tracking does work most of the time if you're willing to fly low. The camera is really nice, and the zoom capabilities with this 65 are really great. But the tracking, zoom, and focus errors are all major issues. The tilt is very slow, and you really have to think about where you're flying and where you put your camera in order to give it the best opportunity. So thank you all, and I'll see you on future videos.